Hi, this is the continuation of Chapter 8. So we left off with Vygotsky. So again, talking about social cognition. So that's really up Vygotsky's alley because he believed we learned cognitively within a social environment. So he focused on something called the zone of proximal development. And that is where we need help from someone who's more capable. Again, it doesn't need to be necessarily someone who is older or, a parent, and we talked about this last week. It just needs to be someone who has more knowledge than we do. So in school, this can really help, having peers who can help us, right? Projects, peer tutoring, even peer counseling. When we can utilize our peers to help us cognitively, that's a huge gain for children. So, utilizing Vygotsky's theory, the zone of proximal development would be great to utilize in middle childhood and adolescence, giving children the opportunity to work in peers. Now, play. So we have solitary, onlooker, parallel, associative, and cooperative. And regarding these types of play, let's see, I do, excuse me, have a video up on Blackboard about the stages of play. So I want you to for sure watch that video, and then you'll do an actual journal about play. But solitary play is, of course, when a child plays alone, independently. Onlooker is also a form of non-social play, and it's when children watch other children play. Maybe they're new to school, maybe they're shy. Parallel is when children play alone, but near each other without interacting. So again, I have two twin sons, so at a very young age, they would kind of sit back to back and be playing with their own thing. Then at, some point during the play, they would look at each other, see what the other was doing, would get up, would switch places, but never talked, never interacted, but remained close. They liked sitting next to each other, and again, they shared the same womb, so for them, it was comforting. Now, associative play is when you interact socially and communicate, but not really organized. So again, you have Joey playing with race cars, and you have Susie who's drawing a picture, and they're talking to each other about what they did that day, but they're not sharing tools, they're not playing together, but they're communicating. Now, cooperative play is social interaction in a group. So let's play cops and robbers, and I'll be the cop and you be the robber. That's definitely cooperative and also social. Sorry, why am I drawing a blank on socio-dramatic play? They're being social and dramatic and being cooperative, working together on the same theme or same goal. Now again, please view the video on the types of play, and that link is here. It's also on Blackboard for you. The journal, please go and complete the journal once this PowerPoint is over. And here's some more play. So according to Sutton and Smith, we have imitative play, exploratory, testing, and model building. So imitative play is when the baby imitates the parent, right? And children imitate roles. So that's very common. I'm mommy, or I'm a fireman, things like that. That's very common play when children are young. Now, exploratory, again, becomes more advanced as they get older, but tasting, touching, manipulating. I was just at the Fairplex last week, and they were getting involved in clay, and one of the boys wanted to taste the clay. So again, you have to be aware of, is it appropriate? Could it harm the child? Or is it really part of their development and understanding their experiences? Testing, so testing abilities and emotions, they test things out. And that, that's part of life is learning cause and effect. What happens when I do this? Model building. So building, putting elements together in new ways. Again, they build structures. They make art projects. So play is very, very different. It can be very structured. It can be very open and expressive. It just depends on the child's goal. So peer group interaction, formal operational, I don't know why that's here. I think that was from another slide. So Selman and Selman look at friendship. And in early childhood, it's about momentary playmateship. Again, do you want to play with blocks? So do I. We're best friends. And they go off and play, right? Early to middle child, it's kind of more one-way assistance. We go to them for things that we need. And when we're lucky, they're able to give those things back, right? Middle childhood, we start to understand it's two-way, fair weather cooperation. Again, you do this for me, I'll do this for you, and let's have it be cooperative. Middle childhood through adolescence becomes more intimate, mutually shared relationships. Again, I'm not going to put myself out there unless you're willing to put yourself back. And, especially as we do that more and more, we're less willing to do that if we don't get the feedback. Adolescence, autonomous, interdependent friendships. Autonomous, independent, interdependent. So we're able to independently be interdependent on others. And again, that when we're older, relationships become our responsibility. We no longer have mom or dad telling us, call so-and-so or go see so-and-so. It becomes our responsibility. So acceptance, that's also a big part of peer relations, right? Accepted and rejected children tend to have different characteristics. And again, what would make a child more accepted than rejected? Many times it's things, traits that they develop through their environment or biological traits. Children who tend to be more selfish can be rejected more. Children who are more willing to share and are kind of more easy temperament, many times are the more accepted children. And again, it's really sad when children are rejected, and that's when bullying plays in. So, really connecting with children and finding out what's going on is extremely important. So group dynamics, peer groups, again, they utilize various methods to include or exclude members. And again, bullies and victims tend to have different characteristics. So there's also going to be a video on bullying. It's called Bullied Kid Turned Survivor, so I want you to look at that. But why do we include some and exclude others? It's usually based on what's similar in the group. And unfortunately, it's kind of things that we do. We're kind of mean sometimes. And, but we also don't want to allow other people into our social groups if we don't see positive outcomes from that. So that is a normal thing that we see. And again, bullies and victims, many times they have similar characteristics. Many times children who are bullies have been victims in other ways. So again, connecting with children is extremely important to find out what's going on. A gang is a group of people who form an alliance to engage in unlawful or criminal activity. And I've heard a lot of people talk about gangs. I just was listening to an interview of someone who, for his mission, after he graduated high school, he was a Mormon. He went to an area really high in gangs in another, I want to say Nebraska, something like that. And he said he was useful when he was there. He did have success in pulling children out of the gangs. But he said once he left, they would go right back into it. And again, it's not always choice. Many of them were told, you're trying to walk to school. If you want to be protected, you have to be part of this gang. And if not, we're going to beat you up until you are, So lots of people don't have choices when it comes to gangs. And that's what makes it so hard of getting out of those gang type lifestyles. Again, they give members guidance, excitement, and identity when many times they're lacking that within their own private lives. They have significantly lower levels of self-esteem than non-gang peers. Because again, if they had high self-esteem, they may know that this isn't really the most ideal situation for me and would try to leave the gang. So many times gang mentality is trying to keep the self-esteem low and making everyone believe that they need each other in order to survive. And most gang members can name fewer adult role models in their families and communities. Again, they didn't really have strong role models that would help keep them out of gangs. So, and again, many times you do have strong role models, but due to the environment, it's just something you're pulled into. So gangs can be very scary for children and something, we have to keep an eye on. And that is the end of chapter 8. So again, please go online. You're going to watch a video on the stages of play. You're going to watch a video on bullied children. You're going to complete a journal on play, take the chapter 8 quiz, and complete the statistics about children assignment. Remember, we talked about that in class. We showed an example, and you must reply to at least one student with an APA citation. If you reply without the APA citation, you will lose points. If you reply to more than one student, you will probably get a 4 in that area. But again, the APA citation is necessary and required. So good luck on the chapter, and email me with any questions.